What is up, everybody? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. First is going to be tonight's guest, our friends over at HouseCall Pro. Everybody that reaches out to me, they say, "Oh, what CRM should I use? I'm doing this, or I'm this many million." And I tell everybody HouseCall Pro because I think it is the best bang for your buck. Paying for exactly what you need and features that actually make sense. There's a lot of features that, yeah, it sounds cool, but people never use them. You're paying for things you don't need. And the way House Call Pro is built, it literally does what it says. You work simpler and you grow smarter. It is exactly what a growing business needs, has all the functions. It's easy to learn. There's not some huge learning curve where somebody feels like they're going back to college to try to learn how to use a CRM. And that's huge. It has to be functional, and you need to be able to teach your team members how to use it. And there's none easier and giving you better results than our friends over at House Call Pro. Um, Guys, remember, if any of you out there, check out the website. You're going to see testimonials from people. I am somebody who used House Call Pro for the last 4 years. Obviously, I'm no longer with that company, so I'm in a different place, but I love House Call Pro. You cannot beat what you get. And when it goes for bang for the buck, nobody can hold a candle to House Call Pro. That's my personal opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Anybody out there, if you are interested in House Call Pro, use my link down in the description, and they will take care of you and give you a special deal to get you hooked up so that you can get you and your company on House Call Pro, rocking and rolling so that you can help your company grow and work simpler and grow smarter. Next is going to be something that this is another one of my sponsors that actually integrates with House Call Pro, and I think these two together are a amazing tag team. Is going to be my friends over at CompanyCam. Um, I will tell you guys at some point the new situation that I'm in. I'm gonna, let that go for right now. But they utilize CompanyCam in a way that we didn't even use it before, and I always tell you guys, Company Cam does so much more than I even realized. And when I started seeing this, it was amazing. As far as how they use it for the taking these pictures and the installers communicate back and forth. The sales team communicates back and forth. It is absolutely amazing. It gives you high res photo, video that will automatically link into the CRM you're using. Obviously, I said I recommend House Call Pro, but you can use Service Titan. Some of the others, Company Cam will integrate with them too. You can go to the website; they'll give you a list of their integrations. Company Cam does so many things as far as communicating with the customers, built-in templates to be able to say, hey, this is the before and after. Especially nowadays, people are working from home or they're not home. And even though they're home, they can't deal with you and you have to talk through your phone and do through text. There's nothing better than before and after pictures, people. I tell you, pictures are worth a million words, 1,000 words, whatever you want to say. Use those to your advantage, and nobody does that better with Company Cam. So this is going to be a 2-for-1 deal. Anybody out there, if you're looking, go get yourself House Call Pro. Once you get signed up for House Call Pro, go get signed up for Company Cam and use both of these together. Promise me you can thank me later. I've been using it for years, and they are absolutely amazing. You can also go to the link down in the description for Company Cam, and they're going to give you a deal as well. This one is going to be, both of them are going to give you 14-day free trial to test it out. Make sure you like it. And then after that, Company Cam is going to give you 50% off your first 3 months. And I'm pretty sure, I think the deal is similar for House Call Pro, but it's not the same. But they're going to give you a deal for being a member of HVAC Uncensored Nation. So make sure you go down in the description. If you're listening to this, it's going to be down in the description. If you're watching this, it's down in the show notes. And just click that link. It'll take you right to where you have to go and get you all signed up. With that being said, let's get on to the pledge. Get this show going, baby. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I am your host, Gil KV Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday, another hump day. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for bearing with me. Like I said in the chat, got a lot going on, so please just bear with me, trying to get a lot of things in order. And that's what it is. Like I said, everybody's got shit going on, so I don't sit here with that poor me. But we'll get things straight. Before we get to introduce this guest, I do want to say, since I haven't talked to you guys in a week or so, I want to get my heart goes out to all these people that are affected by these hurricanes, man. North Carolina, Milton, that's getting ready to hit Florida or is hitting Florida. It's sad seeing what's going on down there, and I'm not getting into political talk. That's not my intention, but just seeing people in the United States knowing that they're being taken from their homes, my heart just goes out to them. If you have a God that you pray to, pray for these people because they definitely need it. My faith means a lot to me, so me and my family are definitely keeping my prayers for these people. And yeah, it's crazy, especially somebody that I work with now. Their family lives in the Tampa area, so hearing that story, it just makes it a little closer to home, and just realize how impactful it is. So please keep those people in your thoughts and prayers. Uh, with that being said, go Ravens. I know I'm not going to rub it in my buddy Jason's. You know, I love him. He's a good friend, but I'm proud of my Ravens. So it's not a big hat, but I'm still going to rock this right here. And we're going to bust the Commander's ass this week. So I'm going to leave that at that. But guys, I got a great show for you all tonight. This person has been on the show before. We always have an amazing talk. And for somebody that is a founder of a software, I have nothing but respect for this person, how he makes himself available. To see somebody who founded a software like this, and not some like fly by night software. I'm talking about like one of the big players. And he makes himself available to the end users. The fact that you can join some of these HouseCall Pro groups and talk with him and give your feedback on features, or, hey, I'd love to see this, I'd love to see that. And then when they add said features, you know that they're listening. And that's one of the things I love about HouseCall Pro. Not saying some of the others don't have communities. That's not my intention. I'm not talking bad about anybody else. I'm building up HouseCall Pro because I think that their community that they have is absolutely amazing. Anytime I've ever managed a company and we have used HouseCall Pro, that community has been powerful. We've been able to ask questions. Hey, how are you doing this? Or how are you doing your billing? Or how are you doing this? And everybody comes on and says, oh, we do it this way. And sometimes Roland himself will come on and be like, hey, have you tried doing this? And that is huge. You as a little guy makes you feel like your voice is being heard. And sometimes that's amazing. That is something that's going to take you to the next level. So without further ado, everybody, please put your hands together and a warm welcome for the founder of HouseCall Pro, Mr. Roland Ligtenberg.
Hey everybody, glad to be here. What's up, Gil?
Hey, buddy. Thank you so much for being here, man. You're one of the few people you've had to been on the show. 4 or 5 times now. So thanks for coming back.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's always great to be here and kind of shooting it with you and letting you know what we're up to over here.
Yeah, I love it, and I love that you guys have been rolling out features. I know the last time we talked that I am huge. Like I love the pipeline when that came out, and I didn't
Mm,
understand how powerful it was. That was where the group helped me, and I saw
hmm
people being like, "Oh, hey, did you know you can do this?" And I'm like, no, no, I didn't know you could do that. Oh, do you know you can do this? I'm like, oh man, like the automation that was built into it. So you know, it goes in one box, and when it's done, it just goes into another one. Literally, the definition of the pipeline. I think that's absolutely amazing, and that people understand how that helps them. And that's what I love about the communication and you getting on these different things and talking, because some people hear it like, oh, they added pipeline. But until you know how powerful and what it does, you don't understand how cool that is and how much it can save you time and money in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. I think the more you can automate in your business, the more time you can spend on things that'll meaningfully move, the progress of your business. I feel like a lot of the follow up, a lot of the customer communication, a lot of the like waiting on permits, waiting on parts, just like these things just clog up your brain with just junk. and and then you can't focus on delivering that, 5-star customer experience, which was really what's driving the business, is really driving those referrals, is really driving, the 5-star reviews on Google, which yield more business. And so, that's just I'm glad you mentioned that. But yeah, Pipeline was one of those tools built to do the automation, but also make it really simple to see all of your things like on a board. It's called Kanban. I don't know why they call it Kanban, but it's just it makes sense. You move stuff from left to right, and you just got like stacks of essentially stacks of paper, but it's digital, and it's just there. You can just what are the automations that make it move from left to right? And we built those, and for pros, you get to configure them. And if you don't know what to say, go to our Facebook groups. Ask people what converts well, what works better. And we have good defaults in there. So if you really don't know what to do, just turn it on, and it'll start working for you the second you buy it.
Yeah, it is amazing, the AI. So some of my friends, like everybody in the chat knows my good friends, the host of the Service Business Mastery podcast, another amazing podcast. If you own a business, you should check out. My buddy Tersh and Joshua. Tersh has been one of my best friends for years now, but they are huge in the AI, and they actually have customized list and playlist for each individual software. So I would go check theirs out for House Call Pro. They've gotten me onto it because I didn't understand how powerful it was, because I always try to be on the front end of these fads that come in. But I don't know why AI just didn't reach out to me like some other things did. And now that I found out so much more about it, you can free up a person's day on a bunch of meaningless tasks and now get them doing other things that are going to move the ball forward versus, like you said, just responding to this or doing this. When this happens, it automatically triggers this, that triggers this, etc. And it saves so much time. I've started using AI in the podcast. um, I messed up and it didn't put a podcast out last week, but that was my fault because I didn't tell it I didn't tell it to do something correctly. But when used correctly, it's absolutely amazing and saves time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think one of the things since we last talked is, we launched our AI team members, and our goal there is to make it so that, we can essentially add headcount to your business to focus on things which are rather, I don't know, you just need to do them, but they're not maybe the highest value tasks, but they need to get done. And so, we first started with automating and building an AI for our own Blue Chat Bubble, which is, for those that don't know, if you ever run into any issues, you can always reach out to Blue Chat Bubble. You can always go to the community. But we built a bot there that's built on all of our help databases and all the questions ever asked and answered by our tech support team. And so sometimes if you don't want to wait for a human, quickly go there. Chances are 80% of the time it's going to solve your problem, right then and there, and be super responsive. We started there. We have our coach AI, we have our analyst AI, and working on a couple other ones, CSR AI. And so these are all different functions in your company you normally would hire someone for. You normally would have to be a pretty big company before you hire an analyst or an accountant, maybe even a coach. Maybe smaller companies will hire a coach earlier, but there's all these different things that you can add into your business that now we link to all your HouseCall Pro data. And so none of this AI is any good if you just use Chat GPT and just ask like boring standard prompts. Now imagine if you ask it about all of the data that HouseCall Pro has on your business. And then all of a sudden you start to just unlock these great things. And so that's been a big release that we've done. And we're rolling out that to our folks now and developing more of these AI team members. So it's exciting times. It's moving
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And one thing that I really love too, like not even just the office side, about the technician side, is it makes it so easy to use for the technician, because I feel like, especially nowadays with technology, we are asking technicians to do so many things. We want you to have a high average ticket. We want you to get a review. We want you to tell the customer about our maintenance plan and this and this and this. And I always say, and if you ask technicians to do too much, they'll do nothing, because that's just how it works. And I do love how House Call Pro implements things, and it makes it very easy for the technicians to be able to do what you ask them to do. And that is huge. When you're a business owner, a manager, a GM, whatever your title is, and you're looking for that, that is something that people look into. Like, it's great to get the analytics and the data on the back end, but if your techs aren't doing what they have to do, then it's all for nothing.
That's right. Yeah, and one of the things that we're going to be releasing soon here, kind of mid-October, is a bunch of updates to our checklist feature. And really, the checklist is what you can kind of think of as like this quality control for your technicians that are out there. And you can force them to do certain actions before they close out a job. And so a lot of folks in the industry call it like call by call management. And yeah, like literally it means you call in the office, did you do X, Y, and Z, and they will talk you through it. And you can't leave, you can't roll the truck, you can't leave the customer's home until you do that. Or you can do this digitally, right? And so we've been adding a bunch of functionality to that piece just to help out those technicians. So it's easy for them to click to click, make sure they got all the right pictures, the before and afters, the CYA pictures, the cover your ass pictures, and all of the things that are needed for any given job. But yeah, I would say across all of the different things, in a week from now, and on Tuesday, gosh, yeah, there's like a lot of different pieces, and honestly, we roll these out as soon as we kind of get them, we put them out, and then we do what's called like a release moment where we just like talk about all the different things we released. But in any given day, we're constantly shipping new code, which unlocks new features, to our pros. And then these moments are meant to like spotlight some of the things that are already out there that might, be coming up real soon, like near term. But yeah, stay tuned for that because it's some of this good stuff. And I could probably highlight some of those here a little bit later as we continue talking.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So you guys know Roland's willing to give you guys some sneak peeks on some things that aren't technically out yet. So you have to keep it a secret,
That's right.
okay? You can't
That's
tell
right.
anybody. Tell everybody, but nobody. All right. Um, So, is there anybody in the chat currently that is using or has worked for a company that has used House Call Pro? I'm just curious in the chat to see people that are familiar, because I do know it's a very common software. There's not many people that I've talked to in the residential world that haven't worked for a company that hasn't used House Call Pro, which I think is pretty neat.
Yeah, I'd say in general, the types of folks that use HouseCall Pro are in that $0 to $10 million a year range. And that's like 95% of the service industry. And there's other great software out there that addresses the needs of much larger companies that have the resources to be able to really get the ROI out of it from a cost perspective. But I'd say, $0 to $10 million is really where we're focused on. And our core industry is the mechanical one. So HVAC, plumbing, electrical. And we have 55 other categories. But besides us, there's really not many other companies that have the amount of customers that we do. And the benefit of that is the more customers you have, the more revenue you have, the more engineers you can put back on the product. And so, when you're out there considering software, you got to make sure it's a sustainable business and they can afford to pay the engineers to build the product. And so, if you're a smaller company that has maybe some bespoke, can't quite fund the same level and speed of development. And so really there's a couple outliers, when it comes to software providers in the home services space. But yeah, I'm curious to see if anyone in the chat's already jumped on HouseCall Pro, already using it, or used for a company that uses HouseCall Pro.
Yeah, I know a lot of them. Some of my friends in here now, they're commercial companies, and
Hmm.
to your point about the 0 to 10, I agree, because a lot of those companies that start getting above 10, 20, um, they need customized software, so they end up developing something just for them. They're not using one
Hmm.
that's bought for the most part, and another reason why I think you guys are the sweet spot, because you're packed full of features, and it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's affordably priced.
That's
Like,
right. Yeah,
And that's a big thing when you're looking into this, because I've been on the tech side using these softwares, and I've been in the office running a company side, and it's like, oh, X is great, but it costs 3 times as much as this, and the extra features it gives I'm not even going to use. So it's like, I don't need those. I can pay for
that's
this,
right.
get exactly what I need, and now I can be more profitable. And I just think that makes sense in this situation. you know Bigger isn't always better, and more expensive isn't always better.
Yeah, and a lot of folks are like, oh, well, you don't want to outgrow your software. The reality is that, there's only a small percentage point that'll ever be able to outgrow it. And so you're paying what, like a lot of money to drive the Ferrari to the grocery store. Do that. Is it cool? Does it make you feel cool? Are you part of the cool Ferrari club? You could be, but I will say, like, take your truck, take your minivan, whatever you want. That's affordable, and it allows you to reinvest more dollars into more critical parts of your business. Marketing, paying a better wage to your employees. Getting out there doing community projects, other things that elevate your brand, and reinvest those dollars elsewhere. And I will say, when it comes to making sure you're using the right parts of the software, HouseCall Pro is built in a way where out of the box you get really good defaults and you can start learning it really easily. A lot of people are like, well, Roland, why is it so easy to use? What's like the secret sauce? There is no real secret sauce other than we use what's called Google Material UI Design. We've got some of our own concepts, but when you start to use it, if you've used any kind of Google tool, you're like, oh, that cog does this. Oh, that hamburger menu does that. You don't have to teach someone what that means or what it does when you click that button. Because you use other products that are out in the real world, you're like, oh, this feels familiar. Oh, yeah, if I click that button, that thing happens. And you can't really describe it other than people just like, oh, yeah, it's easy and simple to use and it's easy to learn. And when you're running a business, if you're spending a lot of time training your technicians, you got a new hire and they can't get up to speed for like an entire month because it's so complex. I mean, those are really tough costs that you're going to have to pay. And so for us, our thing is like, look, if you get HouseCall Pro and you're in our sweet spot, that $0 to $10 million, year spot, like you're able to get running, in the next couple of days, if not that same day, if you're like an owner operator. You don't need to go through like a super painful 6 month onboarding plan with checkpoints and those things. If you're using, enterprise level software or something like Salesforce, yeah, HouseCall Pro, we've got a full team of people. All they do is Salesforce because that's what we use. We had to build our own piece of technology around our sales team to do the thing. But you're spending millions and millions of dollars to do that. I would say that's a distraction if you're not a tech company.
Yeah.
If you're in the home services space, the types of things you need to be able to do, we call them jobs to be done. It's common across a lot of different service businesses, and so take advantage of that because you'll be able to use great software for something that's when we think about pricing our software, it's like a cell phone bill. There's other software out there that feels like a mortgage payment. And some people are doing so well, they can afford another mortgage payment. Nothing wrong with that. But I will say, just in general, for us, it's important that we empower all of our pros. And so our mission is to champion our pros to success. That includes the folks that are just starting out by themselves. And that includes multi-million-dollar businesses.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess so. We had a couple of questions, and I know what my answers are, but I guess I'll let you go first. Somebody said, "What are the most popular features of the program, or the most popular features of House Call Pro?"
Well, at its core, it's scheduling, invoicing, and payments, and so it's like getting jobs on the calendar, making sure the right people are doing it, then going out and doing the work, and then making sure you get paid for it and paid in a way that, you can collect COD or really that time between you perform the service and you collect the dollars, you just collapse that. Because as a small business, cash flow is, I mean, that's the most critical part of your business, and missing payroll is no joke, especially when it's so hard to find good people out there. And
Yeah,
so those are the core things. Now, those are the most popular, but the things, when we're talking HVAC, because, we're on HVAC Uncensored, so we're going to talk about it. I'd say like service agreements, which some people refer to as like memberships or club memberships or service plans. We call them service plans, but that's a big feature. Property profile is another big one in HVAC space. That one's essentially equipment tracking, so making sure you're able to know the next time you come to the house, when did you do the last service? What's the serial number on it? You can make sure you've got the right parts in the truck when you head out on the job. You're not just driving around, with not the right parts on.
yeah,
And then in the HVAC space too, we do a really great job at helping pros build out flat rate pricing inside of their price book, inside of HouseCall Pro, by being able to ingest a whole bunch of materials, take the labor items, put your markups, and present a super easy, palatable price, to the homeowner where they're like, oh, okay, this is the cost. It's all inclusive. And I feel like that's the biggest jump for any home service business to make is really move from that time and material to this flat rate pricing, which is really consumer friendly, but also protects your margins. And if you use software like ours to do it, you can build the padding in, you can build the net profit in a very scalable way that normally would be pretty complicated to do. I mean, I guess you have to use Excel spreadsheets or buy some pre-made ones online, which aren't necessarily built for your area or even your particular skill set. But those pieces I feel like are the most popular. My guess is that the most popular one here this next year is probably going to be our CSR AI, which is essentially replacing or augmenting your staff that's answering the phone. So for a lot of small businesses, it's hard to hire non-revenue producing people.
Yeah.
What is that? What does that mean? That are people in the office that actually make the wheels turn. Revenue would not be produced without them. But I'd say, like, look, are you going to be able to pay someone to answer the phone at 2 a.m.? No, but somebody is. So what if you could staff it with, our CSR AI? So those calls are booked automatically in your calendar for when you wake up. And so that's pieces where you can turn this kind of missed revenue opportunity that normally would happen if you're a small business, and you can capture it and make sure it doesn't go to your local competition. Right? And so my guess is that's probably going to be one of the biggest features that we'll be rolling out, because that literally would be, a full head count you have to hire. I don't know, depending on where you are, 40 to 60K, maybe 40 to 70K, across the US. If you look at the cost of what we're going to charge for that, it's going to be, pennies on the dollar, because it's machine based. And it doesn't necessarily have to replace anybody either. It can also augment. If you don't want to answer the phone on the weekend, turn it on. If you don't want to answer it after hours, turn it on. If you want to first answer it yourself, and if you don't capture the ring because maybe you're in the attic or under the subfloor, then turn the thing on. Because the worst thing is you miss that revenue. And so we want to make sure that we're able to champion our process of success by making sure that all of the calls are answered and as many of the calls that you get are converted into jobs.
Yeah. And I love what you said that. So some people are like, oh, AI is going to take somebody's job. Like he just said, it doesn't mean, so maybe the people you have are overloaded and now you can free up time so they're not overloaded and now they can do other productive things versus having to do that. Or maybe this can help. Now you don't have to hire another person. So, because like he said, you have to have office people, you have to have CSRs, but they are non-revenue producing, meaning somebody else's revenue has to pay for them. So you have to have it broken down to where it makes sense, or the company's not going to make money. That's just the facts of the business. And when it comes to these CRMs, let's be honest, they all are made to do the same task. We need to be able to book calls, keep track of our customers, to be able to invoice when we do something, let the techs know where to go, customer's address, all that kind of stuff. A lot of it comes down to the ease of use and being able to get the information that you need, and be able to get it quickly. It doesn't have to be 47 clicks or like I'm trying to learn another fucking language. And that's what some of these are. And I'm going to be honest, the new company that I'm with, they don't use HouseCall Pro. Obviously, it's not my choice. I don't own this. But the software they're using, I'm not going to say the name of it, but I've used that previous. And going from HouseCall Pro to this, it made me realize how much more I do love HouseCall Pro, because when I'm trying to go find the things that I need, it just seems like it's so much more work to get what I need versus the what I would do before. So it really brought a lot of things in perspective, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
And
Time is money. Time is money. The more time you spend like trying to look for stuff, you could be doing way better stuff. And look, like you might be like 1 second more, 5 seconds more. But imagine you do that 50 times a day. Well, what would you do with an extra 15 minutes? Wow. You could either have a happier employee because you can send them home earlier, or you can spend those 15 minutes following up on that estimate or writing a better estimate, that the homeowner can actually read versus just only clicking the one that's available in the price book. But yeah, everything you're saying is is completely spot on there. And I feel like for us, the gap will only continue kind of to widen when you look at what do you get divided what do you pay for it, and then how do you make sure you get that value? Because ultimately, that's what influences people's behavior.
Yeah, exactly. And I know somebody asked, is it sales based? None of these CRMs are sales based for that matter. How you use it depends on that. Can you provide options? Yeah, of course you can provide options. And that's the way I think anybody should be offering things, especially in the residential business, is but whether you provide those ethically or not is up to the end user, not the that's not HouseCall Pro's fault if somebody's dishonest. So it's kind of hard to make that kind of comparison. So it's not sales based, but it gives you the what you need to be able to sit down with the customer and professionally, thoroughly offer them or bring up all the things you found and get them what they need quickly in a professional manner. That's what we're trying to do is, hey, this is what I found. This is how much it cost. I can do it now. Okay, you want to do it? Bam, sign here, rock and roll. Oh, I'm done. I completed the work, sign here. All that kind of stuff. It dots your I's and cross your T's. So it does cover your ass. But it gives you all those kind of features. So I just want to make sure I get that across because I've seen sales base. So if I had to say, I'm not going to say that name because I don't want to talk bad about another software. So if somebody said that one of your competitors they feel is sales based, and I get what you're saying, but not even defending them. I don't think it's necessarily sales based, but they have more features in that. So yes, I'll agree to that point. But once again, the person makes it unethical, not the program. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, man, like, look, if you buy a tool, the way in which you use it, I don't know, like maybe I swing my hammer hard or maybe I don't, like,
Yeah,
but it's still a tool. And so software is just a tool. And we want to make sure that our pros are able to deliver experience where they're educating their homeowners, educating their customers, and allowing them to make an informed decision and show them the path to what's best for them. And when that path that's best for them matches with what the company can provide at a price that is valuable for both sides to do their best work, that's when you get magic. And so when that magic happens, you get those 5-star reviews, you get more notoriety, you get more referrals, and that starts building your business. And so that's really the ultimate goal. I'd say there's so many cool things that we're releasing in this October release moment that help with that. One of the things is, our online booking tool. We're adding the ability for a customer to be able to add a card on file or pay for a service upfront. And so some of you are like, well, who's going to buy an HVAC system online? No. There's none of that. Imagine now you can qualify the people booking your calendar on those that are willing to pay back for the tune-ups or for the service calls. Who are you going to service first? The person that's willing to pay the $89 service call upfront before you even visit? Or are you going to go for the one that calls you last minute? That's like, oh my God, it's hot. Can you please come? I don't know. Can you just give me an estimate for free? Can you roll the truck? No, it's like, who are you going to deal with? And so those types of tools help you interact with customers in a way that the customers you're talking to are the ones that you want. They see the
yeah.
value and you're ready. They're ready to put their card down. They're ready to put their card on file. They're ready to pay for a service up front. How much more online can you get? And so, that's one there that helps that customer experience. When I take a look at some of the other things that we're building and releasing here is, the offline viewing is great for technicians. Not everybody's got service across the entire US. But
Yeah.
if something's cloud-based, right, which is the reason why you're using cloud-based software is because everything's all update all the time because it's in real time, it's in the cloud. But if you're offline, you can't see anything, you can't do anything. So we're out there launching. We're going to launch our offline viewing mode. So all of the stuff that's cached on your phone, you'll be able to see, and then when you come back online, you can do stuff. So you can make notes.
That's cool.
We've been just hearing a lot just around route planning and route visualization. Maybe a little less important for HVAC companies, but there's definitely a use case for it. But when you've got a bunch of vans and trucks on the road, knowing where they need to be in any given day can make sure that like Gil stays in the 92109 zip code all day long, rather than traveling across the city. Time is money, and being able to see that on the map view. Sometimes it's easier than being able to see like in a timeline or just a schedule view.
That's actually huge. That's huge in
uh,
HVAC actually, because
mm,
techs hate going, you know, starting their day here, going there, and then going back to where they just came from. Like, it's disgruntled employees. Plus, it doesn't make money. You're wasting gas. You're pissing people off. So that's huge feature. That's actually amazing. Happier techs. You can get to more customers because now if they are all in that same area, now maybe the guy can do one extra call and he's not worried about it because we were efficient in our time versus a bunch of downtime, travel time that we're technically not getting paid for, as if, we want them in front of the customer. We want that face time as much as possible.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What else? What's cool is so we got the ability to store a card on file, but what if you could auto charge a card on file? So what that means is, if there's a customer you're doing a lot of service with, recurring service with, could be light commercial, right? Could be like a restaurant or something. Just put a card on file. As soon as you invoice, it'll automatically charge that card on file. So you don't even have to chase that money. You're essentially the homeowner or the owner of the card is authorizing you to charge the card just as it is because you've got that relationship. And then when we think about your most important asset, which is really your labor, right, which is your people, your employees, we've been focusing on building out our advanced payroll solution that's fully integrated with HouseCall Pro. So as you can imagine, as you're selling stuff in HouseCall Pro, you can mark things as commissionable events. Those things tie into payroll. And so, like, how do you make that thing super seamless? And as a business, as you start to grow, man, it's a lot of work every 2 weeks, entering payroll. And however you bonus, however you spiff, however you percent commission, all these kind of components. But having payroll just inside of your field service management platform is huge because all the data on what they did and what they sold, what's commissionable, what's not, all those things kind of exist. And so, within that payroll side of what we have to offer, there's a whole bunch of new things that we're launching in the advanced payroll part of our product.
That's sweet.
Yeah,
That
what
is a pain
else?
in the butt. Thank God I never did that, but that is a pain. Um,
Sure,
it doesn't
sure.
buy a wallet. I bet it doesn't, Zeke. Um, but yeah, he's a friend of mine. I did some coaching in his company over the summer and helped train some of his young guys. So, which was an amazing experience. I'm forever grateful for that. Um, but yeah, also
Totally.
to go back to what you said before about with some of these, like, automations, technologies, and being able to, get the customers. Like, let's just say the auto charge thing. I know how some of you in here think, and you're like, oh, well, because everybody's so worried about, I don't want to be dishonest, that I think they get lost. Nowadays, customers want ease of use. They want things to happen seamlessly and they don't want to worry about it. How many people are putting their bills on auto pay? They put a credit card, a bank card, whatever it is, and it just automatically gets paid because they don't want to have to worry about it. There's a lot of customers that they want their HVAC service. They find a company that they like, they deal with that company. Oh, you came out. When you get done, it's like, hey, can you sign here? Yep. Don't worry, we'll take care of it, Mr. Smith. Okay, cool. Thanks, Gil. See you next time, man. That's what they want. They don't want, hey, can you take the card out? 514. Like, they don't want to do that. And also, we are getting in the day and age of technology that people want to be able to book online. They don't want to have people to people interaction. You know, they want to be able to say, hey, Siri, or hey, Alexa, I got to be careful because I have some in here. You know, hey, book me appointment at Joe Blow's HVAC for tomorrow at 2 p.m. That's where we're leading to. And when softwares have the capability to be able to do that, that is moving you into the next generation. It's making you future proof because that's where we're going, whether you like it or not. I promise you.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, for me, once you have a great relationship with your service provider, I know they're charging me a fair rate. I don't feel like I'm being nickel and dimed for any of the things. And so for me, just being able to have like a card on file with them is great. And it's funny because like my HVAC went out this last weekend here. It's like 100 degrees. But I of course keep it in the family, so I booked a House Call Pro HVAC guy to come out. He came out and he was like showing me his H or House Call Pro like app in my home.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. But he came over and we were able to like fix the issue. It was because it's a classic, you didn't clean your filter, but it's not because I don't switch out the filter. I switch it every 3 months. But if you can kind of tell, here you can see we're doing like a little bathroom remodel, and
Oh.
then and then right above there, like, oops, wrong side. I'm doing this backwards with my finger. Like right above there is like the return, like,
Uh,
and so all the dust from there went in my MERV 13, like clogged it all up, and then the condenser, like everything seized up, and it turned into a big gigantic ice block. He was like, just get yourself a new filter, do that. But what was nice, he came out. Actually, I don't even know what he charged to come out, because card is on file, and you just billed me, and I can go look at my receipts in my inbox, but I'm just too busy. But you're right, it's that ease of use. Like I knew my guy, I knew who I was going to call, came out, fixed the issue, a small thing. And then he's giving me a new bid for a mini split I'm running up in my office. So it's just, you build that trust with your homeowner. You've got a good relationship. The easier you make it to do business, the better for everybody. And so it's small things like that you might be like, I don't know if my new, FSM has this feature or not. Should I really care? You should be more focused on, what company can make that customer experience just on point, like delightful and easy, because that at the end of the day is what you're selling. You may be a great technician, but the reality is like, it's an experience for the end homeowner, and it's a people business, and you want to make them feel good and easy to do business with. So
yeah, and
uh,
think
more
about
to
it like
come.
this too. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You know,
uh,
you could be the best technician in the world, provide the best service. If you get to the end and you have, okay, you have an iPad or whatever it is, and you're using a software that's clunky, or it's like, oh, the system's down. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Or, oh, hold on. It messed up. I got to do it again. Those kind of things. The customer's like, well, what the fuck? They almost rather you write it down. But if you're like, bam, bam, oh, sign there. Yep. All right. Thanks. Have a good day. That is an added bonus. It becomes a new tool. It's like that new set of gauges, that new vacuum pump, that new tool bag, whatever it is. It becomes a tool in your arsenal that helps you be more efficient at your job and overall have a better customer experience. That's what we do, especially in the residential market. It's all about the customer experience. You can be the best tech in the world. I say this all the time. If you can't communicate what you did to the customer and then close it, finish it using the software and stuff like that, it's all for nothing. It doesn't matter how good of a tech you are because you didn't finish out the process.
Yeah, totally. Those are some of like the coming soon features that we have too, which is like photo annotations, because you can take photos inside of HouseCall Pro and upload video in those pieces. But if you can show the work that you did, the homeowner might not have any idea of what they're looking at. But the fact that you're willing to show the work that you did, and it seems the HVAC's working again, like that's enough, because they won't be able to judge the quality of the craftsmanship, the quality technician you are, the quality of your troubleshooting, the speed at which you did it. But really, it's, oh wow, did Gil listen to me when I told him like it was down, and my 6 month old was too hot for her inside, and like it's like that part of the experience that actually ends up mattering way more than the technicality. But being able to share those things and be able to have documented proof, and then the homeowner feels like, oh wow, they have nothing to hide. Here's a picture of all the work they did before, the afters, the annotations. Here's the thing. Those things just matter a lot. So there's a bunch of improvements we're rolling out there. Video is obviously like a hugely requested one. As you can imagine, phones take the craziest high res videos now, like 4K, 60 frames a second. Like you're sitting at like gigabytes for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So there's some like limitations from the sizing and some compression, that we do. Um, but those things are just important and are becoming table stakes, at this point for modern service businesses. But keep in mind, as you're out there kind of like looking around at software, having that all in one place, focus on the consumer interaction, making it look good. uh, I'm just trying to think of what else. The GPS tracking integration we have and the dash cams that we have, it's neat because in HouseCall Pro, if you don't have them, you send the on my way text. That's cool. You see the picture of the technician and all the standard stuff that you kind of see out there. If you got the GPS integration, the customer can click on it, and just like Uber, see the location of the truck. Now, some people are like, I don't know, I don't want them to know where they are or whatever. But guess what? I guarantee you, if you have that integration and it's live, you're going to be the only home service company in the area that will ever do that. And you're going to look like a god, you know, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, wow, you can't believe it. And what are they going to do? They're going to rave about you in front of their friends. Like, you'll never believe what happened. Look at this, you know, and those like little moments are things where your business will be organically shared within your community. And that's ultimately what's going to drive your growth, is those great experiences and those little surprise and delight moments that hopefully, you know, if you're using HouseCall Pro, you get it by default, but you know, your FSM provider can kind of give you.
Yeah, and that convenience is awesome. Like, I love that when I get Uber or whatever and I can see them pulling down my
Mhm.
street. Customers love that. And most of you, if you're at a decent sized company, you have GPS. You're being tracked regardless. But and obviously it's only when you're going to that customer's house. Like that's an amazing feature. Like, you should be hitting on my way and then going to the customer's house. If you're that guy that hits on my way and then goes to the gas station and goes here and goes there, well, you're the problem, not the software. Just hate to break it to you, but yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that you guys added that. That's because damn, that's awesome. I wish I would have known that.
It's pretty new. So let's talk about you. So you joined this new company, and they're using like a different vendor. What are some things that you're actually missing from HouseCall Pro? Like what's different? What do you wish they had that we had?
To be honest with you, it's not even necessarily. So I'm used to pipeline. I love that. And some of it's not even features that you have that they don't. It's being able to get to those features where it's just a click of a button, or
Yeah.
customizing my dashboard that has all the things that I want to see, versus now it's click, click, click. Go into this
Hmm.
category, to this subcategory, to that subcategory. Um, and to be fairness, maybe it's because I haven't used it, and but also this software, like, you have to have somebody at your company that has to, like, their job has to be to, like, just to stay in this fucking software all day. Um, and we never had to have somebody do that when it was
Yeah.
for House Call Pro. So it's I want to be able to get to what I need when I need it, and I don't want to have to be fumbling around to find those things. And okay, maybe when I, get used to it, I'll get a little quicker and stuff like that. But like I said, I
Yeah.
really noticed that going from House Call Pro to this, and it was just like, damn, it
Yeah.
just kind of
Well,
makes you realize it.
it's kind of like the hidden cost. It's not even the software cost. The hidden cost is you got to have somebody else inside of your company that can operate it at the same time. So it's the cost of the software plus like an additional headcount. And look, like sometimes that makes sense for big companies because you've got people in the company that can do that, right? That are there of a certain size. But is your company in between the $0 to $10 million bracket?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is where it becomes, do you really need a Ferrari to get to the grocery store? I don't know. Can you do it? 100%. Are you going to arrive in style? For sure. But
Well,
you're not gonna drive 120 miles an hour to get there because you're gonna get in trouble.
yeah, no. And I'll be honest with you, this is the first. So coming to this company, I was like, okay, you use this platform. Okay, you're paying a lot for it. Okay. Um, but then they don't even use it. Like,
Mm, yeah, that's
everything.
tough.
They're using a
Yeah.
bunch of other softwares, and I was like, we don't need this. Like,
Hmm.
hey, I got a great idea. I can send you to a link. We can save money, and we can cut out like 4 or 5 of those softwares. So,
Yeah, sure.
so I'm in the owners are amazing people. I'm looking forward to helping their company grow. That's why I was brought on. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
before I start
yeah.
getting them to change softwares, but I brought it up like literally the second day I was there, and I was like, "Well, have you ever thought about using House Call Pro?"
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes, once it's hard, when you play poker and, you're playing a large pot, the second that you call a bet or make a bet and those chips go in that pot, you cannot treat those chips as your chips anymore. Those chips are gone. Right. But that's called a sunk cost fallacy. And a lot of folks are like, man, we invested so much. We signed this big contract, or like, oh, we just haven't given it its fair shake. We haven't tried hard enough yet. But that's all sunk cost fallacy. You should really be making whatever the right decision is for your business at any given point in time, and be willing to reevaluate, the reason why you made a certain decision. And I think that that's a struggle for home service businesses, any business for that matter, even HouseCall Pro. But it becomes much harder too when you start spending a lot of money because you want to justify the things.
Yeah.
Now, that all being said, I think no matter what, as HouseCall Pro here, our mission is to champion all of our pros to success, and even pros that have left us and then end up coming back, or pros that are still somewhere else and then kind of starting to look around, or even pros that have hit the $20 million mark. Does HouseCall Pro have companies that are above the $10 million mark? Oh, absolutely. We have hundreds. Now, do we focus on them? No, we don't. But those owners would just rather have 2 other vacation homes, and they use HouseCall Pro, right?
Yeah.
And that's their choice. And they've gotten to their kind of their growth goals, and they're happy with where they're at. But I will say, like, don't feel pigeonholed into things. And I would say any great software, the reality is you don't need a contract to be able to offer great software. For us, from day one, we've always had it to where you can buy HouseCall Pro month to month. We don't have a contract. You put your credit card, and we charge you every month. If you want to leave, send us a cancellation email. Boom, done. Right? But
And
the
you don't
benefit
hoard
of that,
people's information.
that's right.
Let's
So
just be honest. I won't say name, but there's some companies out there. If you try to leave to go elsewhere, trying to get your information, your customer list, your stuff transferred to the new one you're going to, like if you're going to HouseCall Pro, good fucking luck. That's all I'm going to say.
yeah, and that's sad because that shouldn't be a reason why you stay with something, right? Like it's like in the real world, like do you want to stay with that person you're dating because it's just they're gonna keep your favorite sweatshirt at their house, and you're like, I can never get that thing out of there. Dang it, I gotta stay with them.
Yeah, right.
Maybe a bad example, but like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like that shouldn't be the reason to stay. And so for us, we've kept it so that if we're not working right for somebody, then they have the chance to leave. And all we ask is like send us an email with a cancellation, so it's official, and just we'll have a person from our team be like, hey, so Gil, where'd you leave, or where do we mess up, or what do we not have, But those little nuggets of information are so great. And my advice is for any home service business, and I really truly mean this from the bottom of my heart, is if you give out estimates and the homeowner tells you, oh, we ended up going with someone else, don't be afraid to ask them like, hey, I'm a young business owner, or I'm a new business. Like, I really would value your feedback. What about the person you decided to go with is something maybe that we didn't have, or something that we weren't able to provide you, because we're trying to hone in, and you're our target customer. Do the same, because the type of feedback you're going to get is going to be surprising, because a lot of folks are like, oh, they went with someone cheaper, or they just like, none of those excuses are real. And so be willing to take feedback. Software doesn't have to charge a contract. It's month to month. You can spin up an instance, you can spin it down. There's no like huge massive cost that's sitting there. You have to be brave enough and confident enough in your product to do that. And that's why you'll see, in our Facebook groups, a lot of pros, they're like, I want this feature, or can you approve this? Can you do that? Because they know that we'll build it at some point. And a lot of people are like, oh, Roland, sometimes that Facebook group can be so negative. I was like, no. This is 100% what we want, because these are people that care enough to give us the feedback so that we can get better. And people are like, wow, you guys have such thick skin, and why are you still in there? Like, you're answering questions, like you're talking to the people.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? It's like, well, look, we can only get better by that feedback. But it's a lot easier to kind of like put your head in the sand and be the ostrich and not listen to the feedback and kind of do what you think you're going to do. But the reality is you're only as good as the feedback that you can get. And whether you're a software business or a home service business, make sure that you can actively solicit that and get honest, constructive feedback, because that's only how you're going to get better.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said in the beginning of the show, I think that's awesome that you're in there. It makes it powerful, and people are asking questions, and it's not just other users or HouseCall Pro employees. When they see your name, like, holy shit, that's Roland. Like, he's answering my question. Like, that's powerful. And I think that, you don't get that everywhere. And that's just the truth. And if that happens, then I don't know. And I'm in all these fucking groups. I've seen them all. But I've had a curious question that I want to ask you, and
Yeah.
you don't have to answer this, or you can answer it as vaguely as you want. You know, I won't use an example, but like some of these add-ons that you can add on to HouseCall Pro, how do you guys feel about that? Like, do you like that it makes your software bigger, or do you guys think I wish we offered a version of that so it was all built in? Like, but what is your feeling on those?
By like other add-ons, you mean like integrations or integration partners, or do you mean add-ons
Yes,
that we build? So
integrations. Like, yeah,
yeah. So that's a great question. I would say like in general, to build like a tool that's like all in one for all the things and be the best for everything is impossible, especially at the
yep,
price that we charge. And so there's literally companies, all they focus on is pictures, or all they focus on is accounting, or all they focus on is the financing aspect, right? Or and so those are all point solutions, and so they have the ability to go super, super deep, in one particular direction. Whereas with House Call Pro, we try to make it so that we can offer all the tools, all things similar. They might not be as deep, but they're going to fit 90% of the companies out there and do exactly what's intended. And there's always going to be power users, power companies that want something that's more point solution focused. And for that, we offer integrations. And we have some integration partners that are like formal partnerships. And then also we have what's called an open API. And so you won't find this on a lot of other FSMs where they won't open up Zapier, they won't open up their API so that other people can like build on top. And so for us, our users use on average, I don't know what it is, like 8.5 hours, every single day. So really House Call Pro is like the central hub. It doesn't mean you can't use other tools, but as long as they interface and they talk together, the worst thing you can be doing with your time is data entry. So our
yeah,
goal is to make that as easy for our pros because it's such a low value task and it's so repetitive, so mind numbing and boring. And so, I'd say like in general, our strategy is look, we can build all the things all in one, make sure they all talk nicely to one another, and it's going to be great for majority of the businesses that we serve. And there's always going to be other great integrations for things that just go super deep in one particular area. And if a business wants that, yeah, let's support it. Like I think for us, in order to champion our process success, we have to be able to be open to talk to all kinds of other tools in your tool belt. Like you want them all to be able to take the battery and like switch them out. And it's like you don't
yep,
want three different battery systems, right? You just don't want
yeah,
that. You want because you're going to invest a lot of money and time into them. So don't do that. Like pick one that works with all of them, and then you can kind of pick your tools around there. And so that's kind of the way that we look at it, where it's like if they all play nice, that's going to be the easiest way. So you're not doing what you're talking about, which is like 3 clicks to get to this thing, or like go to this thing and then this, like that sucks.
yeah. It, it
That's a
does.
big time sink.
And I'll be honest, if I was if I was going to start a company tomorrow and I had to pick everything, I would pick House Call Pro, and then I always integrate with CompanyCam. I use that for the photos and things like that between the install and the sailors, the salesman or comfort specialist or whatever. And then I always liked On Call Air. Those are
Hmm.
always two that I love the integration, and between those three softwares, I could do exactly what I wanted to do in a professional manner, keep track of, and then obviously there's a QuickBooks for accounting, but even though their accounting stuff is getting pretty beefy, that sometimes you don't even have to do that. But it used to be where it was QuickBooks, Company Cam, On Call Air, House Call Pro, and I could do everything the other guys did. And I was still, even with those extra integrations, I was still paying a fraction of the cost that I was paying for these other softwares. And that's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah. In some in software world, we call that your like tech stack. What's in your tech stack? It's kind of like what's in your tool belt, I guess. But I would say is like, look, if you deem that those tools are the ones you really want to use because you get some great value out of them, for House Call Pro to talk to them is super important. And then for other folks, we've got sales proposal tool. Now, does it go as deep as something like On Call Air that's specific for HVAC with like bundles and rebates and discounts and like a lot of industries don't have a whole bunch of manufacturer rebates and all kinds of deals running. And so you don't have to think about that style thing.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect example that Gil mentioned where it's like, oh, you know what? They work really great together, especially in the HVAC side, because there's these specific needs for the specific trade where the specific company where all they work on is like, the estimate side of things, the sales proposal. That's what a great tool. And so for us, remember, the way that House Call makes our money, we have a subscription service, and then we do like payments. And so if our pros grow, we grow. And so whatever way we can help them grow better, that's a win-win for us, you know? And so I always think about like what incentivizes people, what incentivizes companies. And if those things are aligned, you can quickly figure out what people's motivations are and how things are going to work or not work.
Yeah. And another one that I used at the company I was at before, we used the new flat rate, and how that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of beefy. That integration was seamless. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. You know, like, because
Mm-hmm.
I just, I didn't think that it would communicate as well as it did. And I was like, man, this is wild. Like, I literally left this app and went back into HouseCall Pro, and it's all here. It's all there. Like, everything I just did over here is here. And I do think that speaks volumes. And I will say this, like Roland just said, you don't have to use those other things. And 90% of people, especially those 0 to 3 million, that you're just getting the ball rolling, you don't need that. Everything that you need is in HouseCall Pro. It's wrapped up into one. Um, but just to know that if you want to add these other features, and who knows, maybe now by the time you want it, it's going to be in HouseCall Pro. Because I tell people, and I'm 100% honest, when I first went to the last company that I was running and they had HouseCall Pro, I said, if we're going to grow, this isn't going to work. We can't use HouseCall Pro. I love it, but it's not going to be able to do what we need to do. And all you guys did was prove me wrong. And I say that. My listeners know. I said, all HouseCall Pro did was prove me wrong. And now you hear what I'm saying now. I've left to one of the other ones, and I would rather go back because
Yeah, sure.
you live and you learn. And I made that statement and I was 100% wrong.
Yeah, I always tell people like, you know, if you're making a long-term bet with your company, do some due diligence, you know, on the company that you're gonna use like as the core backbone of your business. Look at the amount of money that they've raised. Go on LinkedIn and see how many employees they have, right? Figure out how many companies use them. All those things are great indicators for revenue. Revenue is a great indicator for how much they can invest in R&D. R&D will tell you how quickly they're going to develop features and make your life easier. Now, I'm not saying don't ever bet on a small company, but I am saying, you know, think about the speed at which things happen. Like, you know, one engineer can't do the work of 100 engineers. It's never gonna happen. Maybe not 10. Like it's very, very difficult. So take a look, do some due diligence, see what's out there. You know, there's really kind of, you know, in the HVAC space, ServiceTitan is definitely like a very good worthy rival if you're into Simon Sinek. It's like the perfect definition of them. And they focus on the much larger companies. But you know, with our integration capabilities, the rate at which we're growing, the chances that you're the 5% that will outgrow HouseCall Pro is, well, fairly low, 5%.
Yeah, yeah.
Not saying you can't do it, but I will say you'll get everything you need and more directly from what we have to offer. And if not, like you'll mention, there's some great integrations with some really good bespoke apps and tools that will do a great job for you if you want to get more hyper specific and focus on certain areas of your business.
Yeah, that's 100%. Guys, we are at an hour, so you know that I try to keep this at an hour. So if anybody has any questions like they'd like to ask, please put it in all caps. Um, well, if people are asking questions, is there anything that you think that we didn't cover that you would like to get out? I know we covered a lot. Was there anything you think we missed that you'd like to get in there?
You know, I'd just say in general, like uh, when you're doing business with someone, see if the co-founders will reach out to you. You know, my cell phone's 858-215-1512. If you want to send me a text, you got a question, reach out to me. You know, at House Call Pro, no one's unreachable. And if you ever feel like you're a current listener and you're like, oh man, I wish I could talk to Roland, just send me an email or shoot me a text. I'm happy to answer. Because you know every pro matters to us, and so when we talk about our mission of championing our pros to success, we really mean it, and everyone inside of the company feels that way. And if for whatever reason you feel like we're not going on the mission, just shoot me a text. And so I think, you know, between that and, you know, some of the other options and things that are out there, we stay very close and connected to our community, and we value all that feedback. So keep it coming.
Yeah, definitely do that. And like I said, I have nothing but respect for you, Roland, and especially the fact that how you make yourself available. Because I haven't seen that with other ones, and the fact that you are like that, that this episode will get 100,000+ downloads, and they'll hear that number, and the fact that you don't care, you put it out for a reason, and I think that's powerful when people are willing. To me, it's like putting your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? A lot of people say that, but to see, and I've seen you personally actually do it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. No, and like, people are like, well, how do you have the time to do that? Well, I can't always get to everything like within seconds, but I promise you, within 24 hours, I'll try to do my best to reply. And texting is the best, right? Because I can do that while I'm in meetings and running other things versus like, if people try to call me in the middle of meetings, like, I can't always pick up. But I will tell you that not enough people take you up on that. So a lot of people are like, wow, you're putting that out there? Like, how can you handle that kind of volume? The reality is most people are too afraid to reach out or maybe
Yep.
think that maybe I wouldn't answer or whatever. But the ones that do are like pleasantly surprised and they're like, holy crap, that's crazy. Well, that was awesome. And remember, it's that surprise and delight. So whether it's a software company or a home service company, these laws remain the same.
Yeah.
Like if you can live up to people's expectations or exceed them, you're always going to end up winning. So, make sure you set it correctly and make sure you act accordingly.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because I remember you coming on the podcast when I still had my old co-host. I think he was still here, but the podcast hadn't taken off like it is. I wasn't as well known, and you had given a number, and I remember texting it to see, and you actually texted me back, and I was like, "That's fucking awesome." So that's
That's-
cool. That's been years ago now, and
yeah.
but that's awesome that you actually did. So that's why I brought up that story.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Well, it's been awesome being on. Gil, if there's any questions or if people listening later on, because this will air after it's live, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, no, we definitely will. Thank you so much, Roland. I appreciate you. You can hang tight. I'm going to close this out. If you got to go, whatever you have to do, I'll be a few minutes closing it out.
Awesome, man. Hey, Gil, pleasure as always, and keep fighting the good fight. I'll see you
Yep,
guys.
I always will. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
Guys, so thank you so much for listening to this, man. As you know, that House Call Pro is a sponsor of the show, and when I was at Beltway, we grew House Call. I mean, we grew Beltway uh, millions of dollars doing exactly what people said you could not do on House Call Pro. So we did it. They're still doing it. Granted, I'm not a part of them anymore, but there's amazing people, friends, that people that I love over there that are still, rocking and rolling. And I know that they're not going to leave House Call Pro anytime soon. So anybody out there looking, if they're unhappy, looking to make a switch, check out House Call Pro. Use my link. It'll send you right to there. If you're thinking about starting your company, you're chucking a truck and you're just trying to stay organized and don't want to use paper and pen. Check out House Call Pro. They can take care of it too. All right. They are definitely an all-in-one, easy platform to use that I highly recommend. And they can be as advanced if you want to do. You can do the integrations and add on, and you can keep adding and making it as thorough as you want to be or as simple as you need it. So it's up to you, and I love that feature. All right. So remember, if you want to check out House Call Pro or any of the other sponsors, amazing sponsors of the show, which I greatly appreciate. Thank you to all the sponsors for making this possible. Check out the show notes if you're watching the video. All of the links will be down there. You can click on them. It'll take you exactly to the landing page for that said company. If you're listening to the audio, once again, it'll be down in the description, down in the show notes. Click on it and you can go right to those. So make sure that you show love to the companies that are making this show possible every single week. But with that being said, please make sure you follow the podcast on all the social media sites. Make sure to download the podcast. Leave me reviews, please. 5-star reviews. Let's help getting this out so that more and more people, we can keep growing the community. All I ask is if you think it's not a 5-star review, email me. I'd rather you, instead of putting something dumb, email me. You can do info@hvacuncensored.com and I'll respond to you, man. I respond to most of those emails. Give me a little bit to get back to you. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff going on right now, but myself, my wife, one of us will get back to you. And as long as you're not an asshole with what you say, I will take the constructive criticism, man. You guys are my end user. You know what I mean? So I want to listen to what you have to say, as long as when you say it, you're just not being a dick about it. But if you think it's worth 5 stars, if you wouldn't mind going to do that wherever you listen to the podcast, that would be amazing. All right. With that being said, guys, remember, I want each and every one of you to make it home safe. All right. So keep your head on a swivel when you're driving. Pay attention. Make sure the breaker's turned off, and just make sure that you're out there praying for somebody. With all these people, we had somebody say that Hurricane Milton is hitting, and it's a Category 3. Which, that's dangerous, man. So please just keep your heart out. Please be safe. I want all of you to make it home the same way you left. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. Be the best version of you. There's no reason nowadays to say, I can't do this or I didn't know that. Because if you want to know, education is at your fingertips. All right. You can Google it, watch a video, listen to a podcast, an online course, whatever it is. Always be the best version of you when it comes to HVAC or not. Maybe it's a side project, whatever it is. And if you're good at this trade, if you are a super tech and you know everything, even though there's no such thing, give back to somebody in the trade, help somebody else. You don't really know something until you have to teach somebody else. Give back to the trade, help somebody else be better. And when you do that, it's absolutely amazing. And with that, I love each and every one of you. I appreciate you. And until next week, I'll talk at you mofos later.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Have a good night, everybody. I appreciate you guys. And thank you to all of my moderators, Mr. Jason Johnson, Mr. Zeke Warner, and Mr. HVAC Rookie are all the ones in here. Thank you guys. I appreciate you, brothers. Love you guys. And everybody that's here every week, Mr. Freon, Sammy, Jason Williams, some other people I might have missed. Mr. Nasty. Thank all you guys for being here, man. I really, really do appreciate each and every one of you. Knowing that I see those names in here every Wednesday. When I can't be here, that's why I get upset, because I know that my friends are in here waiting for me, and I don't like to let you guys down. So thank you. I appreciate you. Have a great week, and I'll see y'all